Is God calling you to up and leave your job? So this is what we're going to be discussing today on this video. So the Lord has called me to stop multiple different businesses, and he has also called me away from the two jobs that I did have before I completely surrendered my life onto him. So you may be wondering if the Lord is seriously telling you to stop doing your business, to stop working your 9 to 5. And if so, how are you going to survive? How are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to sustain for you and your children, your family? And I'm here to tell you that the Lord will provide. If the Lord is calling you and pulling you away from your businesses, your 9 to 5, then he will provide for you. You just have to have faith, trust, and believe that he will come through for you. So the Lord had called me away from both of my jobs back in March of 2024. And there was a season of lack that I had to go through before I did start seeing some money come in. So when I say lack, I was not able to bring in any type of income from what the Lord had called me to do, which is ministry right now, full time ministry, until he brought me through a season of solely depending and relying on him. And he did have to start stripping me from the spirit of pride. I had pride. I did not want to ask anyone for help. I don't like asking people for help. I don't like how people make you feel when you ask them for help. And I don't like how people talk about you when you are in need and you are needing help, That's exactly why people in this day and age don't like asking for help, because of what people do when you ask for help, how people treat you when you are in need of things and when you're lacking things. They make you feel as if you are beneath them, and they make you feel like you're not worth anything. So that's how I felt when I asked people for help. And I also am the type to always just have it. My mom and dad always made sure I had it growing up. I was spoiled. I did not want for anything. Even when I worked, because I was working since I was 16, my parents still took care of me, and they told me I didn't have to work, but I wanted to work. And when I lost both my parents, I had to now make sure I took care of myself. And I made sure I took care of myself, doing whatever I had to do. And fast forward to me having two children. Now I really got to make sure that I'm making ends meet, and I'm making sure my children and I don't want for anything. So I had this hustle mentality. I worked very hard. I still work very hard. That's just in me. So not being able to go to work and clock in, not being able to do the businesses that I love, it just was, you have to walk in obedience. And whatever the Lord has for you, that's what you have to do. You know, we can do what we want to do, but we won't be as successful as the Lord has called us to be, because it's not in the will and the way that he has for us. So he called me to doing full-time ministry. This is what he wants me to do. Of course, he has placed other things in me as far as entrepreneurship wise that he will allow me to get back to, but he had to bring me through this season of pruning, purging, refining me, and teaching me things. So when it is time, I can now include him, and now I know what not to do in my businesses, that I was doing prior to, when I wasn't walking with him. And now I know who not to bless and who not to help, because God will also reveal all the snakes around you and all the people that are just using you or preying upon your downfall. So I just want to talk about the few professions that I did have prior to me walking with the Lord. So, of course, I worked at multiple different jobs. People know me from going to multiple different jobs. If I don't like one job, best believe I'm going to go find me a new job, and I always get the jobs I want. I was always blessed to be able to work at every job I wanted to work at. You name it, fast food, retail, banks. I was a bottle girl. I worked at casinos. I did bottle service, bartending. I also was a stripper. I even did some scamming, not good. I also did, you know, I don't want to say that on here if you could read my lips. So I did a lot of things. OnlyFans, like I did everything under the sun. Anything to put money in my pockets, I did it, you name it. But of course, that's the easy way out. And the enemy wants you to stay doing those things. He doesn't want you to tap into who you truly are in the Lord. And he doesn't want you to tap into who you are in the Lord, because that's when he knows you're going to be blessed, when the Lord elevates you and gets you to be the person that he has called you to be. And that is, building generational wealth. And that is, being able to be a blessing onto others. So the enemy does not want you to do that. So yes, it's easy to get up and go to a 9 to 5. Nothing against anyone that does do that, because the Lord does still call people to go and work a 9 to 5. But not everyone does he call to a job. And I'm one of those people that he has pulled away from a job. So it's easy to do what we want to do because we want to do it. But it's important that we walk in the will in the way that the Lord has for us, and walk in obedience, because our obedience is attached to something. So I have made the most money that I have ever made since I have given my life to the Lord. And this is solely working full-time ministry. He has not yet blessed the work of my hands. And when I say bless the work of my hands, as far as, my beauty bar, as far as things that he had me place on hold that he's now allowing me to start getting back into, he has not yet blessed those things yet. This is just off of full-time ministry. Now, I do have multiple different cash apps. I have 3 different cash apps. I have 1 personal one, 2 for my business. I also do have Venmo, PayPal, Chime, Zelle, and I don't have my iPhone anymore because I was also receiving payments through Apple Pay as well. But these are just from my 3 cash apps that I had, and this is only from months of February to October from 2025. Now, mind you, this is just one statement that I pulled from one of each cash app. So I was getting payments to every form of payment that I have from the time of February 2025 all the way up until now. So I am also going to link the statements above so you can see. So starting in February of 2025, right? Now also, for those of you that don't know, I did move to a new state out of obedience to God back in, I did leave January, the end of January 2025, and I got here February 2025. So this is when I started bringing in this income. So starting in February of 2025, I bought in a total of $4,297.89. In March of 2025, I bought in a total of $2,867.37. Mind you, this is just one statement from one cash app, so I did not bring that in as a overall total. This is just from one cash app, from one form of payment. In April, I bought in a total of $2,717.24. In May, I bought in from this one cash app $599.64. In June, $1,150.30. In July, $2,294.04. Excuse me. In August, I bought in $659.02. In September, $831.30. And in October, $1,682.97. So I only decided to just share with you, one statement for each of those months from one cash app. So that is what I brought in from one cash app for those months. So does the Lord pay? Yes, he does. And the Lord pays very well. It's all about you walking in obedience. Now, don't get me wrong, the obedience can be a lot. It can be hard. It's going to come with a lot of warfare, opposition, and just persecution. But with the blessings of the Lord, with the favor, his anointing, it is going to come with the warfare, the opposition, and the persecution. But as you can see, the Lord does provide. The Lord does take care of his children, especially if he's calling you away from certain things. Just know that he is going to bless you. That does not mean that if he pulls you away from your business, he's not going to allow you to go back to it. He just wants you to be in a season of trusting him, relying on him, depending on him, and him building up your faith. So when he does release you back into your business, you know what to do. Now, this also doesn't even include the cash payments that were being given to me. The Lord was literally had destiny helpers walking up to me, asking me if I needed anything. People were hearing God, and God was speaking to them and telling them to bless me. I remember I went to one place, I literally had $10 to get to where I was going, and some man walked up to me. He gave me $250, and then he ended up sending me an additional $900. I believe it was either $900 and $990 on my PayPal. So that doesn't even include the cash. So God will send sowers. God will even show up supernaturally. You'll wake up one morning and there will be hundreds of dollars in your bank account, and it's because the Lord has blessed you. Now, if you're doing the work of the Lord, if you're walking in obedience, if you're living a life of repentance, then the Lord will bless you. But as soon as you start walking in disobedience and you start walking out of the will and the way that He has for your life, then the Lord will have to start drying things up. He will start to, dry up help from destiny helpers. He'll dry up your income from wherever it's coming from until you get back aligned to what it is that He's calling you to do. So this video is not to brag about how much I make, but it is to educate you and give you faith, to let you know that the Lord does provide and He will provide. If He is calling you away from your 9 to 5, if He is calling you away to step away from your businesses for a season, okay, the Lord is preparing you for much greater than what your mind can comprehend, and there is greater out there for you. And He does not want us to be placed inside of a box where we think that we can only make a certain amount of money. He does not want us to be trapped in the matrix system of always getting up and going to work. He wants us to be entrepreneurs. He wants us to be creators of our own things, and He will bless the work of your hands. If He called you to do it, then He will bless you. If you know you can bake, and that's a gift that the Lord blessed you with, then go ahead and start baking. If you know that you can talk, you have the gift of gab, because I know the Lord blessed me to talk, then the Lord will bless you in areas where you will be able to speak, where it's motivational speaking, writing a book, whatever it may be. Just do what the Lord has called you to do, and He will bless you. And that's where your abundance is. That's where your wealth is. Not making someone else rich, unless the Lord called you to that job for a season, but He would not keep you there permanently for your entire life. So I pray that this video encourages you, and I pray that it gives you the faith that you need. And I pray that if the Lord is calling you away from your 9 to 5, if He is trying to pull you away from a business and bring you to much greater, that this was a confirmation for you. And I pray you have a blessed and prosperous day. Amen.